There's this guy. Chief, you're watching me. Please send me your name. I have to tell the viewers. He's in the United Kingdom, you know, and he's been a very important resource for this show. I never met him. Still not met him. But he sends me different things. So when we discuss the Nkrumah matter, the book that we put across about the Ghana situation, he told me that there's also a video. He sent me the video, which if it's ready, I'll share with you. But more importantly, he sent me this book in soft copy. It's entitled W. Arthur Lewis and the Birth of Development Economics. Arthur Lewis is an African-American, or is he a Jamaican scholar, globally acknowledged, who was studying economic developments in Africa. And he studied the Nkrumah and the Ghana situation thoroughly. And here, in 5 or so chapters, he discusses thoroughly what happened to Ghana's economy after inheriting so much money from the British. What happened such that by 1965, Ghana was teetering towards a HIPIC situation. Arthur Lewis's book is here. Thank you very much, comrade. Thank you very much. Send me your name. I'll mention it. And I'm going to be reading it over the weekend. So Tuesday, all the information will be here with you. Okay, so this is a different book, though. This is the one who talked about Nkrumah and 1965, etc. There's a video that's attached to it. So let me just read it, and then perhaps I'll get the video as well so you can look at it very quickly. It says, by 1965, it had become very desperate. And I remember we decided to write a memorandum to Nkrumah to tell him the true state of affairs of the economy. I had written that the reserves were only 500,000 pounds. He, Osajefo, looked at me and said, you didn't check your typing. You left a few zeros. I said, no, sir, there are no zeros left. This is 500,000 pounds, all we have in the banks overseas. And he sat back, and what he did then was that he went round the table and went to everyone who was seated there at the meeting and asked them, Frimpong says we have 500,000 pounds. Is he right? Do you agree with him? And everyone said yes. That was the first time that the whole cabinet acknowledged to the president that Ghana was bankrupt, etc., etc. Here's Frimpong speaking to the BBC in an interview. Have a look.
Was an increasingly isolated figure on the world stage. What had once been seen as visionary ideas were now perceived as dangerous megalomania. And his country was sinking ever deeper into debt.
By 1965, it had become very desperate. And I remember we decided to write a memorandum to Nkrumah to tell him the true state of affairs of the economy. I had written that the reserves were only 500,000 pounds. He looked at me and said, you didn't check the typing. You left a few zeros. So I said, no, sir, there are no zeros left. This is 500,000. That's all we have in the banks overseas. And he sat back. Then what he did was that he went round the table. He went to everyone who was seated there, the meeting, and asked them, Frimpong says we have 500,000. Is he right? Do you agree with him? And everybody said yes. That was the first time the whole cabinet acknowledged to the president that Ghana was bankrupt.
A river, take me across and wash.
Yes, so we just want to bring more history to you. Good evening, sir. Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah on our screen. So we're going to look at Arthur Lewis's book and then share the analysis. And we're doing this because we want to show the other side of Ghana's history, if there is another side. And we said the other day that part of the problem and the emotional situation that we've had when somebody mentions Nkrumah's name, is because Osajefo is the one who wrote Ghana's history. Everything he wrote in Ghana's history was correct. But there are other facts that perhaps he didn't write. And he's a historian. He chooses what he's writing. So you can't begrudge him for that. But what is left, which he didn't write, which will help us to put the period in proper context, we have to share with our people. That's what the word posterity is all about. Posterity will come and judge because posterity will have the opportunity to see both sides. Once there's time has elapsed, we can see both sides. So when Kufuor is president, they say Kufuor is that. After a certain time, posterity can now put Kufuor properly and judge him because after the fact, we now have all the information. Nkrumah gave us some information. Let us get the rest of the information, put it together, put it within context, and then be able to make a proper assessment and evaluation of the Osajefo, the first president of Ghana.